Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're so happy to have you all here tonight with us at our annual volunteer award ceremony and CF update. So nice to be together. It's really a nice united feeling to all be in the room here together and virtually online here. Really all on that path to a cure, and a cure for all, as you know. I'd like to welcome our virtual guests who are tuning in right from this camera. So they have a very good close-up view, obviously. And we're hoping to get better reviews tonight, more viewership than when Oprah interviewed Harry and Meghan. So we'll just see about that. I'm hoping there's millions of people tuned in right now. I guess we'll find out later. So I wanted to start by saying I'm Dawn Harris with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation Connecticut chapter, and this is Bean Corcoran, our board president for the Connecticut chapter, who will be speaking in just a moment. First, I'd like to start with just a couple thank yous. Big, huge thank you to the Cystic Fibrosis staff team. If everyone on the staff team could just stand for a minute to be recognized, I really wanted to thank you all. Jamie's in the back. Jen's already standing. We have a few people. Amy's in the way back. Thank you, everybody. And a special thank you to Jamie for helping to plan this whole event, even though the whole staff team helped. But Jamie, thank you so much for all your hard work on this. And to the board of directors, we could not do this without you. You worked so hard all year to help us with anything and everything. So will the board members who are here please take a stand to be recognized? We see you back there, Joe. So thank you to the board. I did want to mention something before I went on. We had a wonderful piano player today who volunteered her time. It happens to be my next door neighbor, so I'm very lucky. Adele, you did such a great job tonight playing the piano and volunteering your time. So we had cocktail music. Will you come on up for a little gift? I'm going to come on up to the stage. I want to give you a little gift. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Adele. And David, there's a couple treats in there for you too. We didn't forget about you. Can't leave out the brother, right? Next up, we just wanted you to see the evening agenda so you know what was going to be happening. We should be done by maybe 8:30. So we're going to go through this and it's going to be a great evening, but just wanted to give you an idea of how it was going to flow. And we also wanted to have mention of this mission of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, which is really why we're all in this together. We're here to cure cystic fibrosis no matter what your mutation is, whether you have a nonsense mutation, a rare mutation, or the more common mutations. We are here to cure it for every single person with CF, and we're not going to rest until that's done. Now I have the pleasure to turn it over for a moment to Bean.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It's good to see everybody here. And I hope you and your children and families are feeling well. And I believe you want me to say something about advocacy. Yes. So what you want to do is type in that number 96387, and all of you can be advocates for the CF Foundation, which is super important. In particular, we do things like try to make sure that there are new antibiotics in the pipeline, and that's done by contacting our representatives. So please become an advocate. And I believe I have to meet Julie at some point, who's here and wants to become part of our team. So very good. I'm looking forward to saying hi to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bean. And now we're just going to talk about the year in review very briefly. We thought you'd all like to know how much was raised thanks to all of you and the fundraising that went on all year. Over 1.4 million was raised gross total support and revenue through the Connecticut chapter. And that's thanks to all of you and people virtually watching online. And how did that happen? Well, you all know how it happened because you helped do it. You walked, ran marathons, cycled, golfed, and danced, and many more things. And that's how all that money was raised. So thank you all for taking part in all these events. You'll see on the screen all the different events that we do. And if you'd like to get involved in any that you aren't, please see one of the staff people at the end, because we will definitely help you get involved. Programs, just wanted to mention that we have CFF Cares, which is a program for CF families to have conversation with each other and feel supported. Some of those are done virtually. So if you haven't heard about those, make sure you get on our email list. Talk to one of us at the desk when you're leaving. We'll make sure you're hooked up on our email list. Also, Tomorrow's Leaders, if you know young professionals or you are a young professional and want to get involved in our Tomorrow's Leaders program, it's really an incredible networking program and we really recommend it. Wonderful program there. And Grampians, if you're a CF grandparent, please see us if you're not already involved in Grampians. You will love this program. The Grampians have come to breakfast that we've had at our office, and we've done a few virtual things as well. And the grandparents have really enjoyed getting to know each other and feeling supported. Next up is our chapter needs. We really would need help with sponsorship. If you guys, any of you could introduce us to any companies that you have direct contacts with, we can certainly try to get sponsorship. Also leads for new Great Strides or cycle teams and finest honorees for our Young Professionals Finest program. And committees. If you or someone you know might want to get involved in a committee, we call them volunteer leadership teams. Great way to get involved with any of our events. So as I said, please see one of us if you are interested. And thank you to those who are already involved on a committee or with one of these events. And our 2023 corporate champions. Why don't we give them a round of applause? They're all up on the screen right now. Thank you so much to our corporate champions. We really could not do this without you. Your sponsorship and support means so much to all of us. And now I have the pleasure to introduce our next speaker. I would like to introduce the fabulous Mary Beth McMahon, Chief of Staff of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
Thank you for lifting me, with that little intro. Thank you, everybody. It is so great to be here. I have to tell you, I was supposed to come here March 2020, and you all know what happened after that. So it took me 3 years, little detour, but I'm really thrilled. It is such a wonderful chapter, and I just loved meeting you all. I didn't get to meet everybody, but I can really feel the special devotion of this group. And I want to call out Bean Corcoran, who's I met many, many years ago when Will was, I think, he wasn't even a teenager yet, I don't think. Yeah, he was adorable. And that was really special. And so thank you to the board, the Connecticut chapter board, and all of you here today. The staff also, thank you so much. Dawn, Jamie, Pam, Jen, Kim, Amy. So I think I got everybody, but it really is a pleasure to be with staff again in a chapter setting. I'm in the national office. We don't get out much. Dr. Sadeghi, thank you so much for coming tonight, giving your time, all your care of people with CF. It really means a lot, and pleasure to meet you tonight. Care team people who have come out, who care for people with CF every day. Thank you for coming out tonight. So tonight I want to share just a little bit about the extraordinary progress that we've achieved recently in the past year, but a little bit earlier than that too. And to remind everybody here that none of this would be possible without you. This is a community-built picture of progress. It just couldn't happen without you all. And if there's one thing I want you to take away when you leave here tonight, it's that it's because of you, what I'm going to talk about. So don't forget that your collective devotion, those of you online, very happy you're joining us. It inspires everything we do. I want to start with some of the most important benchmarks of progress of the CF Foundation, which is the people with CF today are living longer and fuller lives, and adults now represent about 60% of the CF population. I have to tell you, that's a statistic. What really excites me, since I've been almost 17 years at the foundation, I never expected to stay one CEO after another I've worked with, and they just get better and better, is that I've had the chance to see people grow up and get college degrees. And I've had the chance to see people get married and have babies. And we're having a little baby boom right now in CF. I think if you check out the patient registry, and that's really exciting. And I saw some of the pictures on the slides earlier of some people with CF who now have children. And that was not really on the horizon when I first started at the foundation 17 years ago. So what a privilege. The median life expectancy for a person born with cystic fibrosis is now 53 years. And I want you to, that's because of you. That is because of the community. And that is 15 years longer than it was just a decade ago. So it is leaping up, and we fully expect that number is going to continue to climb. As people with CF live longer, the overall population also continues to increase, and there are nearly 40,000 people with CF in the United States, and we expect that number to grow too as more adults age with CF. One reason, next slide, Ken, thank you, for our confidence is certainly the transformative effects of modulator treatments, and especially Trikafta. And you're all familiar, I'm sure, with this. Kalydeco, Symdeko, or Orkambi, and Trikafta, the big one. And those truly have transformed life for many people with CF. So as you know, the modulators treat the underlying cause of CF, and we continue to expand the number of people eligible for these treatments. So that's exciting too. I'll just cite a few little instances of label expansions in case you're not aware. Orkambi was recently approved for children ages 1 to 2 years, those with 2 delta F mutations. Kalydeco is available for infants as young as 4 months and is being studied in even younger infants, which is really exciting because we know the earlier you get treatment, the better. FDA is currently considering Trikafta for children ages 2 to 5, and we expect, or we hope to hear a decision on that by the end of April. We also continue to study the effects of all the modulators on the overall health of people with cystic fibrosis and on their treatment regimens, which can still be pretty heavy. Dr. Sadeghi can correct me if I'm wrong, but they can still be pretty heavy even for people on modulators. So still studying that. And there are more modulators, better ones, to come. And I was reminded by our person from Vertex here that there might be better ones coming. Next slide, please. This is one of my favorite slides because I have seen this slide grow, and we have an animation of this slide, which I don't have tonight, but it looks like an accordion. It gets smaller, gets a little bigger, a little smaller, and then bigger. And there are now in our pipeline, which is another major benchmark for the foundation's progress, there's 40 therapies that are either in development or already approved. The full 40 here, and they're across many different areas of CF, not just the modulators, but targeting infections and then genetic therapies and other things. So really excited about this. However, despite all of these wonderful things, we know that not everyone with CF can benefit from existing treatments, or even those that are on the horizon right now, and that many individuals who can take current therapies continue to face challenging complications associated with CF and some of the treatments. So I want to go to the next slide for 1 second, and people who are more seasoned and scientific than I can probably talk about this slide a little better than I can, but there's 94% that now people with CF, 94% have available treatments. Doesn't necessarily mean all 94% are on treatments, but that's really significant. You'll notice at the top, the other mutations, the rare mutations, there's about 6% that don't have a treatment and cannot use modulators. So we are in it, as Dawn said, for all people with CF. And that is going to be a tough nut to crack, and we're already figuring out how to do it. So that slide I stole from the CEO, and I'm going to tell him I actually explained it a little bit. Okay, the next one. Next slide. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to focus on developing genetic therapies for the last 6 to 10%. And this part, I'm going to leave it to Dr. Sadeghi to figure out how we explain that, but it's very complex. And I will tell you that it's going to take longer, and it does remind me of how the modulators began. And I sometimes feel that I'm standing looking out at the horizon the way researchers must have in 1996 when they first started investing in Aurora Biosciences and thought of possibly one day getting to a modulator. And lo and behold, by 2012, they did get there. And we're sort of standing on that shore now looking at genetic therapy and genetic editing and maybe mRNA therapy. And we're also aiming for it with every bit of the relentlessness and the intensity of those earlier researchers. So just picture that, and you know we're going to get there. It's going to be complex. It might take a while, but we will get there. Next slide. So one hallmark of the CF community has always been innovation. And you all know about venture philanthropy, I'm sure, the foundation raising the money, bringing it to researchers, talking them into doing the research sometimes in the early days. There's many more philanthropy organizations doing that today, but we're still doing it, and we're still making sure that we're not waiting for science to come to us. We are trying to drive it. And one way we do that is with the Path to a Cure initiative, which some of you may know about. That's our $500 million initiative. It's a commitment to ensure the world's best science is applied to our work. We're funding collaborations with leading biotech and venture capital firms, sometimes with very creative partnerships that are bold and quite new. And these are already resulting in about 35 major industry research programs focused on early stage genetic therapies. So that's really exciting. And we have some clinical trials that are already underway, or they will begin in the next 18 months for 3 mRNA therapies, which could potentially benefit all people with CF. So there's good things happening. 2 key tools in our arsenal that I like to mention are 1, our lab, and 2, our leadership. Our lab, which is in Lexington, Massachusetts, is really a one-of-a-kind, state-of-the-art lab. It's completely and exclusively focused on CF research. It operates as a kind of scientific hub for some of the world's leading scientists and researchers to help accelerate drug discovery. And many of these are new to CF. We have lured them in, and we're going to keep luring them in. The other thing I mentioned was leadership. And I have to say, I just see the scientific leadership of the organization get stronger and stronger and stronger. And you probably at this chapter have seen some of them. Bill Scatch, our last chief scientific officer, just retired, or he stepped down. He's still working with us. We won't let him go completely. Last year, he stepped down. And we just brought on board Steve Rowe. Steve Rowe is a doctor who has been working in CF research for 25 years, distinguished, world-renowned, and super excited to be with us. So we're looking forward to the next steps with Steve. The other thing I'll mention as a CFF staffer is something that is the envy of my friends who work for other nonprofits, and they'll be nameless, is that our scientists, our medical team goes on the road and communicates and stands at podiums and goes to receptions with happiness, with pleasure, to meet the communities, to stay close. And that's a wonderful thing. Many places don't have that, and they're such great communicators. So I hope you'll have the chance to meet Dr. Rowe soon. Next slide. Innovative care. So in addition to research and drug development, we continue to focus on exceptional multidisciplinary care throughout the care center network, about 100, which is made up of about 130 accredited centers. And I hear there's I didn't realize there were at least 5 centers around this chapter in this area, which is really fantastic. So I want to thank the teams again for all the work they do. Our care teams partner with people with CF and their families, as you all know, to respond to the changing and complex needs of people with CF, and especially of the adult population. And that's where we're focusing some of our time and energy and increased support to address many of the complications associated with CF, including infection, advanced lung disease, and mental health. Lung infections remain a top concern for people with CF, and we're pursuing novel and non-traditional ways to treat those drug-resistant infections especially. It's a hard one. We're not giving up. We're also working to address advanced lung disease by improving outcomes of lung transplants. So in particular, we're focusing on how to combat something called chronic lung allograft dysfunction, or CLAD. And that's the most common complication that leads to rejection and death in transplant recipients. And we've got a whole team led by Alfaro working on that. Another priority area, as I mentioned, is mental health. And we've seen a real increase in anxiety and depression reported in the patient registry, which cuts across all age groups and stages of health for people with CF. And that was especially notable, I think, in part as a result of the pandemic. So we're looking at ways we can support mental health in the care centers much more. Overall, as I mentioned earlier, but I want to stress again, the care centers, they are our greatest touch point of people with CF. And I think that they work the hardest and teach those of us who are not in the clinic how to tailor what we do to the needs of the people we're serving. And that's a tremendous example. So I want to just thank you again. Next slide. Thank you, Kim. All of this progress, all of these initiatives and programs are powered by our community, by everyone in this room. And the perspectives and the insights of the community shape all of these efforts. Central to the Foundation's mission is ensuring that we're helping all people with CF. And one important area of focus is our ongoing commitment to equity, racial justice, diversity, and inclusion. And I want to talk about one thing that we just got on the tracks last year in partnership with the CF community. And that is we took on the effort to better understand the experiences of underrepresented people with CF and identify more opportunities to address the challenges they may face. And these often include inequities in healthcare, and they're really hard to identify. And they take a lot of listening to understand what other people's experiences are. And it might not be the typical person who we see a lot of in our clinics. So we have to really work hard to make sure we're having conversations with the right people. And it's really worked tremendously well. I think we're reaching more and more people. And we've taken some steps to ameliorate the situation, including working to increase participation of people of color in CF clinical research and in clinical trials. This is an ongoing effort. We're working to develop more, as I said, mutation agnostic therapies that can help address rare mutations, which are more prevalent in people of color with CF. And we're looking at newborn screening and working to improve equity, sensitivity, and timeliness in diagnosis. And I have to say, when I first started learning about this, I thought, well, didn't we get newborn screening in all 50 states? What's the deal with that? Well, I learned that how newborn screening is conducted varies from state to state. And it might be much easier to get diagnosed for a common mutation than for a rare mutation. So if you're a person of color with a rare mutation, you might skip right through that. And so we're looking more closely at that. We're proud and honored to be in a position where people with CF are truly our advisors and strategic partners. But I have to say, it takes more than just the first steps. So our goal is to create enduring change in this area. One wonderful example of working more closely with the CF community over the last years is last year, some of you may have seen this or noted it, we welcomed Casey White as our first board chair who has cystic fibrosis. So that was a momentous occasion when a long-serving board chair, Cam McLeod, much beloved, a CF parent, passed the baton to a person with CF. And again, we became the envy of many other philanthropic disease organizations who are like, we never did that before. And we're doing it. And we're really proud of it. And we're going to learn a lot from Casey as we do that. Next slide. Can we go back one? Sorry, Kim. Yeah, this is the one. Thanks to our volunteers, all of you, many people in this room. The generosity is extraordinary. We raised $113 million last year. In a year, we're still not completely out of the pandemic, doing a lot of virtual fundraising still. And that's amazing and also wonderful for the work we're doing together. We held the third Rose Up. That's entirely led and planned by people with CF, and they raised more than $700,000, which was wonderful. And we formally launched the Milestones 3 campaign, Driven by a Dream, after 2 years in the quiet phase. And next slide, please. You all might know about this campaign. It is led by Joe O'Donnell, the larger than life figure from Boston, who is in it until we win it. And he is doing his third Milestones major giving campaign. We've already raised $120 million toward the $200 million goal. And I know there's many generous donors in this room, and I thank you heartily. It is wonderful, wonderful support. And it's going to be really invaluable when it comes to supporting the genetic therapy, which is going to take longer, require more investment. The forecast is it might require 10 times what the modulator therapy is required to develop. So that's a lot. And the major giving campaign is going to really help us do that, as all our fundraising does. Next slide. I want to thank you by reiterating what I started with, which is I really appreciate everyone in this room and the community that comes out, no matter the weather, no matter the place, virtual or not virtual, and shows up to support what we're doing and advancing our shared mission. And for a person who thought I would stay just a few weeks working for the CF Foundation, I can say that I feel more and more that it's my privilege to work with and for all of you and your families, and that it is truly, as one of our CEOs used to say, one of the truly most amazing stories in medicine, but it's not over yet. So I'm proud to work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Hi, I am Gia Kuhn. I'm on the staff of the CF Foundation, and I'm so excited to be here tonight. This is one of my favorite, I've always told Dawn, it's one of my favorite events to come to. The annual meeting is so great to visit with all of you. So thank you. I want to express gratitude to all of you for your contributions. So whether that be asking us to advocate for those living with CF or other programmatic issues that we're working on, or whether it be fundraising, all of it is making a difference. And we want to express our gratitude from the bottom of our heart. I'd like to recognize some volunteers and donors who heard our message early on and joined us in the opportunity with the Milestones 3 Driven by a Dream campaign. The slide represents some of the donors in Connecticut. I think you just heard that we've raised $120 million from coast to coast, and we've just begun. These folks early on, I'd like to recognize them if they're here, if they could stand so that we could give them a round of applause. These are our major donors that supported the campaign. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the next slide, please. And these individuals, if we could give them a round of applause, they joined our Legacy Society. And every one of their gifts is meaningful regardless of the amount, just joining the legacy and leaving a gift to the CF Foundation, their estate plans, we are humbled. So thank you for that. The Milestones campaign has helped fund unbelievable research. As Mary Beth shared a little bit, I won't repeat what she said, but one of the things that it did is it laid the groundwork to really help us accelerate the research really in every area across drug development, digging deeper into our lung transplant program, really keying up that nonsense and rare mutation initiative, and really looking at infection control and how we can help people that are living with CF battle some of these really hard to deal with infections. We're looking at a new day now. So milestones, you might ask, why are we here doing milestones 3? We're at that new turning point where we're looking at these drugs that are still helping us, but we know we need the genetic research, messenger RNA, genetic therapies to really help us to get to the finish line. We're not done yet. As you heard, we haven't helped everyone yet. There's 6% of people that, at least, that can't benefit from a modulator for many different reasons. We are here and are going to work tirelessly until we can get a modulator treatment for them. And then really what is our ultimate goal, I think our shared ultimate goal, is a cure for everyone living with cystic fibrosis. The campaign offers opportunities for everyone to be a part of it and be part of medical history. I would really love the opportunity to share more about it. So if you want to ask me any questions about it tonight, that'd be great, or Dawn. We really want to get as many people in our community involved in this campaign that is really going to help us get past that finish line and find that cure for everyone with CF. So thank you for everything that you do. It makes an absolute difference. It is the work that's done in the field day in and out that really helps us and helps us move forward and helps make our success possible. Thank you.
You really do feel like you're speed dancing when you come up with this music. So I have the pleasure of introducing my good friend and colleague, Dr. Hossein Sadeghi. He's the director of the Pediatric CF Center at Columbia in New York, as well as the Tully Center here in Stamford, Connecticut. I have had the pleasure of knowing him and now working with him since I brought my son Will to see him. And I think that was about 17 years ago. I'm pretty sure at the time he had just started working at the Tully Center, the affiliate of, well, at the time, I guess it wasn't an affiliate of Columbia, but since he's the director at Columbia now, it is. I have the pleasure of working with him as a family partner on his quality improvement team, which is fascinating and wonderful work. And he is a man that his patients absolutely love. In fact, many times they transition from pediatric to adult and they ask him, please don't make me go. I want to stay with you. So he's got a fabulous bedside manner, kindness and consideration. And he's an excellent physician and doctor for our CF peds. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Hossein Sadeghi.
Thank you very much, Bean, for that generous description. I guess that's the picture from 17 years ago. And also thank you, Dawn, the whole CF chapter, everyone who is present here physically and everyone who is here virtually. Thank you for listening in. So we can start. Okay. So the CF community is a strong collaboration that has given rise to the success story of the CF Foundation that exists today. As you can see, in 1938, when the cystic fibrosis was separated from celiac disease, life expectancy was less than 6 months. By the way, the pathologist who discovered that worked at Columbia University, where I have the honor to be a faculty member today. So the success owes its progress to many factors, including understanding pathophysiology, early diagnosis, specialized CF center, gene discovery, and treatments targeting the genetic defect. We know that CF is an autosomal recessive disease. That means each parent carry a normal gene and a gene carrying causing cystic fibrosis. And there is 1 in 4 chance that their offspring will have cystic fibrosis. That abnormal gene gives rise to an abnormal protein that's called cystic fibrosis transmembrane regulator. Because it's a mouthful, we call it CFTR. And because that's the chloride channel, and because that channel is now working properly, electrolytes are not able to pass through. And that because the salt cannot pass through, the water is not passing through, so the secretions are really thick. So in the lungs, it's like pouring tar in your lungs. And in the sweat glands, there is increased electrolytes, and that gives rise to the sweat testing. So that's why when you go see the physicians early on, we asked if when the parents kiss their infants, do their kids taste salty? Or during the hot summer days, we emphasize adequate hydration and salt. Okay, so that gave rise to the sweat testing. That was realized by an astute physician called Dr. DeSaint Agnes, and that physician worked at Columbia University in 1950s. So you can see there's a long history between Columbia University and cystic fibrosis. Another factor in this success story has been the diagnostic testing. We have realized that CF can be present in any race or ethnicity. In order to make the diagnosis, we have to have the clinical symptoms plus the evidence of CFTR malfunction. So clinical presentations could be meconium ileus at birth, where there is blockage of intestine, malabsorption of fat and protein that can give rise to failure to thrive, recurrent respiratory infection, nasal polyps, rectal prolapse, electrolyte depletions. And evidence of chloride depletion can be related to chloride channels dysfunction, and that's the sweat testing that we do, or the presence of 2 disease-causing variants in trans. That means each parent is carrying 1 gene. It's not just one from one parent. Early diagnosis is also important in the future clinical outcomes. This has given rise to the CF newborn screening. Today, we understand that there are many benefits of CF newborn screening. These benefits include improved long-term clinical outcomes, improved growth, reduced cost. We understand that early nutrition is related to a better lung function later in the lifetime. But also, it provides parents to make informed choices about future pregnancy. As it was mentioned, a large number of CF newborn screenings exist, including measurements of immunoreactive trypsinogen and CFTR mutation analysis. By the way, Connecticut managed to beat Texas in order not to be the last state for CF newborn screening. So I would like to describe the screening in New York State, which can be a model for the other states. The protocol is reviewed regularly, and it was last revised in December of 2019 with slight modification. So it starts with the IRT, which is that immunoreactive trypsinogen measurement, followed by variant analysis for the top 5%. So all those with 1 or 2 variants detected, and those with very high IRT, 0.1%, there is a CFTR sequence with deletion and duplication. So by the time the infant referred to the CF center, which is within a few days or a week, we have their genetic sequence. So there will be a sweat testing done at the center. Plus, New York State covers the cost of phasing. So this is to check the variants are from one parent, which makes it a carrier, or from both parents. So all this progress owes to the dedication of the families with CF. In mid-1950s, the CF Foundation was born with the efforts of 5 families and now has become this multi-billion-dollar entity, envy of everyone. So fast forward to 1989, when gene was discovered. With the establishment of specialized CF centers, symptoms modifying treatments were organized. So symptom modifying treatments consist of nutritional supplementation, chest physical therapy, anti-inflammatory medication, and antibiotics. So this raised the median age to mid-30s. So the big break came with the advent of the therapy that targets the genetic defect. So CF modulators that were released in the market in 2012 addresses the protein defect. Now we have ivacaftor that is approved for those 4 months of age and older for their certain variants, or Orkambi, which is a combination of ivacaftor and lumacaftor, a potentiator and a corrector, which is approved for those 1 year and older with homozygous delta F508. Trikafta, which is a triple therapy of elexacaftor, tezacaftor, and ivacaftor that is approved for those 6 years and older with 1 copy of delta F508 or one of the 178 mutations that are responsive to this therapy. And there is, as it was mentioned by Dr. McMahon, the application is under review to reduce the age of approval to 2 years for Trikafta. And hopefully the approval will come within the next few months. The primary endpoint was safety and tolerability of treatment with Trikafta based on adverse events, clinical laboratory values, electrocardiograms, vital signs, and pulse ox. Of the 75 children enrolled and dosed, 1 child discontinued due to an adverse event of abnormal behavior. 74 children completed the study, and 71 completed the open label extension. And the secondary endpoints were absolute change in sweat chloride concentration from baseline through week 24. So children on Trikafta need to monitor their liver function test that is recommended every 3 months during the first year, and thereafter is once a year. And for kids who are less than 18, they need to have an eye exam to rule out posterior cataract on an annual basis. So this has made significant clinical differences with improvement in symptoms, reduction in sputum production, increased weight, decrease in hospitalizations. That's why it's hard to do many of these research studies, because there's no one getting into hospital, and reduce pulmonary exacerbations. Life expectancy continues to improve, and in 2022, it has increased to 53 years. Now in the US, the CFTR modulators, now it covers 94% of patients with cystic fibrosis. But there is even more exciting news. There have been case reports of Trikafta being used in pregnant mothers with improvement in the fetus with normal newborn screening and improvement in symptoms of breastfeeding infants while the mother is taking Trikafta. So there are ethical discussions that one can make, but this goes beyond the time limit that I was given tonight. So we are not going to go into it. And also you may ask, how come the mother who doesn't have CF got hold of Trikafta? That's another question. So therefore, positive impact of effective modulator therapy has been positive physical effects, increased optimism, and less need for prescribed treatments. So this was shown in the Simplify study that looked at stopping either hypertonic saline or palmizyme of 1 month in those on Trikafta with a normal function, and found that there was no adverse outcomes in the short term. However, Trikafta has negative impacts that may include sleep difficulties, insomnias, brain fog, new onset of psychological symptoms that include anxiety and depression, rare reports of suicide ideation, and financial issues that we all can observe in this year. This has been reported in 1 to 24% of clinic population. We need to emphasize regular screening of mental health issues. So when your provider is giving you that PHQ-9 or GAD-7, don't be too angry at them. It's the right thing to do. Evaluation of liver enzymes can lead to dose adjustment or its discontinuation. Despite modulators, CF lung disease still progresses, as it was mentioned. Modulators have helped, but not a cure. So important work to do for the 6% of people with CF who do not have CF restoration therapy for their mutations. The ultimate cure is through gene therapy, either through DNA or mRNA therapy. And if all of you know of someone who had COVID vaccine, you can raise your hand. Then all of you had mRNA therapy, and that's why we're sitting here. So correcting nonsense mutation has been a challenging therapeutic target, but progress is being made. There are ways to combine the CFTR modulator therapy with gene therapy. The idea is to deliver mRNA to create functional CFTR protein. So this shows that CF story in the United States has a success, and this success continues. CF Foundation and CF individuals in this country have been leading the progress across the world. So I would like to take the last few minutes to talk about equity in global health in cystic fibrosis. You may wonder what a white male graduated from an Ivy League school knows about equity and diversity. So let me give you some background. I came to this country at the age of 14 years, attended a private boarding school. Actually, my first summer school was in this state, in Salisbury, Connecticut, and then returned to attend high school in Massachusetts. Then, because of the political situation at the time, I was part of the group that was going to be deported because of my country of birth, despite leaving my homeland before the Iranian Revolution. So there are many such examples in my life. Because of my life experiences, I want to give back and set up a not-for-profit entity to bring a limited number of patients with CF from resource-limited countries to bring here for education, management, and treatment. This is until local resources are established. So the whole goal is to make sure that not-for-profit goes out of business. That would be my happiest day of my life. So this entity was useful when the CF Foundation reached out to get assistance in Ukraine when the war broke last year, and we managed to assist 2 such individuals. So CF Foundation has been leading in sharing this success across the globe. All we need to take is to take a plane ride to just for a few hours to Latin America, Eastern Europe, or to the Middle East, where life expectancy is in teens. CF Foundation has taken the lead in educational initiatives to teach the basic guidelines, access to medication, including CFTR modulators at a reasonable cost. Hopefully, there'll be initiatives to provide access to medication and equipment necessary to provide a healthy life for patients with CF. Finally, We hope to find cures for all patients with CF in this country and expand this success and share this joy with everyone across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sadeghi. And thank you to each of you for joining us here in the room and online. I'm Pam Chudzik, the Associate Executive Director for the Connecticut chapter, and I will be kicking off the award ceremony tonight. It is my pleasure to recognize each of these individuals who I will invite to join us on stage once I finish remarks about each of them. After receiving your award, please meet our talented photographer, Lauren Matteo, at the back of the room where she will take your picture in front of the CFF backdrop. The awards we're giving out tonight were created by CF fighter and artist Amy Lenahan. The significance of the roses are tied to the 65 Roses story, and the imagery is a nod to Elizabeth Park in our state capitol. Thank you, Amy, for these beautiful awards. The first award this evening is the CF Star Award, which goes to Talia Oral. For many years, Talia shared her personal CF story at her dad, Sado Oral's annual corporate golf outing. Through sharing her story, she has made a great impact on CF awareness and fundraising. In 2022, she served as the Rose Up ambassador for the Connecticut chapter. Talia, please join me on stage to receive your award and share your story.
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Talia Rao. It is an honor to be the recipient of the CF Star Award for the Connecticut chapter. I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at birth when I had a meconium ileus. I graduated from Texas Christian University with a BS in elementary education in 2018. And I actually got my master's in special education in 2019 at TCU too. I am now 27 years old, and I am a teacher at the Southport School in Southport, Connecticut. I teach at a school that works with students with dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, and other learning differences. Having CF and working has not always been an easy balance. With doctor appointments, medications, and therapies. However, I have a great support system in my family, my friends, Dr. Siddiqui and Dr. Racy, my other doctors, my nurses, and all the medical staff who have helped me manage my health care and be able to live my life to my fullest. As a teacher, I always tell my students that their learning differences don't define them, and that they can do whatever they want and they can be whoever they want to be. I think the same applies for people with cystic fibrosis. Even though we have CF, it should not control our lives, and it should not tell us what we can and what we can't do. Nevertheless, life with CF is not a straightforward path for both that person and their loved ones. However, the CF Foundation's research and programs have continuously improved our quality of life. Their determination to find new medications and therapies know no limits. When I was a baby, I was one of the first children under 5 years old to be put on Palmazine. Later, I also got to benefit from Toby to control lung infection and maintain my lung functions. In December 2020, the CF Foundation got FDA approval for Trikafta, which has greatly benefited many people with CF and has also been a turning point. Even though I am not on Trikafta right now, I have heard all the amazing stories of those who are on it. Luckily, I have a relatively strong lung function, but I am going to be able to try Trikafta, hopefully soon, to help improve my CF-related liver disease. It is my hope and the hope I know of many others here and around the world that one day soon CF will stand for cure found, no matter which CF gene mutation you have. Thank you so much for your generous donations, for research, and for all your time and efforts to improve the lives of people with CF. Again, I want to thank the scientists, the staff at the foundation, volunteers, sponsors, donors, the CF doctors, and the CF Care Center teams for their continuous support. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Talia. We will now recognize the CF Care Centers for the incredible care they provide each day to people with CF. If you are a member of the Care Center team, please join me on stage to receive your award after I call your Care Center's name. The Marie and Raymond Beauregard Adult CF Center at Hartford Hospital. Connecticut Children's Medical Center CF program. Columbia University Cystic Fibrosis Center at Stanford. Yale University School of Medicine CF Center Pediatric Program. Yale University School of Medicine CF Center Adult Program. We would now like to recognize the top 10 Great Strides fundraising teams for 2022. Team leaders, please join us on stage to receive your award after I call your team's name. Beverly Waters team. Strolling for Sarah, Connecticut. Anya's Angels. Paige's Purple Pirates. Charlotte's Crusaders. Breaths for Brandon. Team Crowley. Spencer's team. Team AJ. And Sunshine for Scarlet. Next is the Great Strides Partner Award, which goes to Rob and Jen Van Maldegem. Jen and Rob are the team leaders for Nuts for Natalie at West Haven Great Strides. Not only do they have a robust walk team, but they also secured Boost Oxygen as a corporate sponsor in 2022. Rob and Jen, thank you for all you do, and please come up to receive your award. Next is the Rookie of the Year Award, which goes to Paige's Purple Pirates at West Haven Great Strides. Julie Stancarone is the team leader and aunt to CF fighter Paige. She and her team raised more than $20,000 in their first year of fundraising for Great Strides. Thank you so much, Julie, and please join us on stage. Next is the Outstanding Youth Award, which goes to Layla Algello. For the last several years, Layla has had a lemonade stand in support of her cousin who has CF. At a young age, Layla understands the importance of raising funds and awareness for the CF community. Go, Layla. It is now my pleasure to turn the mic over to Tim Lenahan.
Thank you, Pam. As noted, my name is Tim Lenahan. I'm a vice president of the Connecticut chapter board of directors. And I'm the father of two amazing children who I think might be watching virtually right now, Jason and Amy. So that was our connection to CF from many, many years ago. So thank you all for being here tonight and virtually and doing all you do to help raise funds, awareness, and ultimately a cure for CF. So really, you feel good about what you've been doing here. All right, so the awards I'm going to be going through, we'll talk in a moment. I'm going to start with the Breathe team. The CFF Breathe team gives you access to run different marathons around the country, including the New York City Marathon. So please direct your attention to the screen behind me for a short video about the Breathe team.
Running today for my daughter Mila. She was diagnosed with CF at birth. My wife and I found out a few days after she was born. Ready to do my first New York City Marathon. Let's do this. Love you, Mila.
I'm running today for a childhood friend, Lady Symes, who's been fighting CF since she was a baby. This one's for you, lady.
So it means the world to be able to raise money for such a great cause, and go Breathe team.
I'm running with the Breathe team, and I'm a researcher in cystic fibrosis.
I'm running for my first son, Jack. Jack was born with cystic fibrosis. Unfortunately, we lost him when he was 3 months old. Raising money for the foundation seems like a great way to honour his memory. Hopefully, I can play some small role in finding a cure for CF, and that will be part of Jack's legacy.
My running days are over. But it's my pleasure to now introduce the Race to the Cure Award for many of those people that were involved with this running. Those incredible runners took part in marathons to cross the finish line for the CF Foundation and our life-saving mission. When I call your name, please come up. Daniel Farrer. Daniel's here. I seen him. Yep. He's getting ready for his next marathon. And Lauren Strange, where are you? I talked to her earlier. Another fine runner. The following people are also part of the marathon, but unable to be in attendance tonight. We got Katie Boulea, Vince Boulea, Nick Coolhay, and Jeff Mead. Congratulations to all our runners and getting the edge on stuff. The next award is the Chapter Corporate Champion, which goes to Alliance All Trades, Mike and Bria Panett. Mike and Bria have been dedicated CF supporters for more than a decade. They leverage their connections to bring in a vast amount of corporate sponsors and supporters. Mike and Bria, thank you very much and congratulations. Come up here and join us. There you are. Next up is the Advocacy Award, which goes to Kara Satellino. Kara is a mom to a CF fighter, Cece, and 3 other children. Good luck. That's a lot of children there. She has taken part on March in the Hill, advocating for people with CF. She's bound and determined to spread CF awareness and is also a dynamic fundraiser. Kara, thank you and congratulations. Come on up and get your award if you're here. Oh, she's not here. Oh, you know what? She's watching virtually. There you go. She's out there somewhere. You pretend at home, just come up to the TV, the other screen. For our next award is a Hero of Hope Award, which goes to Ben Bennett. Ben is involved with the CF Foundation for more than 2 decades, first getting involved through his wife, Chrissy, who worked at the Connecticut chapter. and remember you back in the day. He volunteers as a talented photographer at our countless events throughout the year. He's always willing to lend a hand. Ben, thank you for all your photographers. Come on up. There you are. All right, next award is called the Volunteer of the Year Award. This goes to Hillary Scoville, right here front. Hillary got involved with the CF Foundation through her cousin Stephen, who had CF. She has shown unwavering support as a volunteer of all the Connecticut chapter events. She's a dynamic volunteer, as you can tell, who has helped with everything from in-office duties, managing rest stops, along with cycle routes, helping with event setup and breakdown, and everything in between. They say CF chapter says they can always count on Hillary's dedication to our mission. Come on up, and you're already here. Thank you, Hillary. Next award is called the Unsung Hero Award, which is going to go to Ken Thomas. Ken got involved with the CF Foundation through his cousin Sharon, who had CF. He has since dedicated himself to volunteering at our Connecticut chapter Great Strides Walks. As soon as he arrives at our early morning events, he rolls up his sleeves and helps in any way he can. He's dependable, humble, kind, and is a great part of our success behind the scenes. Ken, there you are. Come on up. The next award is called Until It's Done, which goes to Gary Chamberlain. Gary was introduced to the CF Foundation through Jim and Lisa Coletta, who have 2 grandchildren with CF. He started volunteering at the CF Cycle for Life, and now they can't imagine running that event without him. He was first volunteer in the morning, and he's there at the end of the day. He's a very dedicated volunteer, and as Don would say, they can literally and figuratively count on him until it's done. Gary's unable to be here tonight, so thank you, Gary, if you're out there in virtual land, for all you're doing. All right, the last award that I'm going to be announcing tonight, I'm very proud to be able to announce this, the Community Impact Award, which goes to Kevin Nathan. Kevin's a news anchor at NBC Connecticut. He first got involved with CF through the Sportscaster Super Bowl, then becoming close friends with our beloved CF hero, Paul Drury, and many of you know had opportunity to meet Paul, know how lovely and lucky we were to have him in our lives, and Kevin has been fortunate to know him as well. He's emceed our Rose Ball Gala, which is fantastic. We got another one coming up this year in October. A little plug there for it. He got involved as a sportscaster, then he becoming very close with Paul. He brings awareness and CF personal stories, and he does all provide us with some impactful publicity. Kevin Flair, I know you're out here somewhere, right? Kevin, come on up. There you go. Kevin's award is a pointillism print from Paul Drury. You show him real quick. There's a beautiful picture Paul Drury painted many years ago. So I'm so glad you got that. Thank you, Kevin. Don't sit down, Dawn. I'm going to bring you back up here, I think, right? Okay. Oh, yes. We pretend you're not aware of it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I'd like to invite Dawn back up to the stage. Come on up, Dawn.
Great job, Tim. We can always count on Tim to help us MC and lots of other things. So thanks, Tim. And also, before I forget, I do have to make a special shout out to Bean Corcoran for helping me and the CF team all year long. Every single day she's there for us, and really you're the best board president that anyone could ever imagine. So thank you so much. And we treasure you and love you forever. So thank you. Okay, well, we're almost done with the evening. We have a few more awards. Up on the screen, you'll see some people that could not be here tonight, and I'd like to just call them out. Hopefully they're watching virtually. The Gifts for a Cure award goes to Amy Ard for her generosity in offering an annual fund match for multiple years. The Top Cycle Fundraising Team Award goes to Cycle for Tommy, raising $13,000 and led by Paul Mickelson in honor of his grandson, Tommy. The In-Kind Partner Award goes to Dan and Rebecca Raymond for generously donating their beautiful venue, the Raymond Family Farm, to the Raise a Glass event last year. And the Rookie of the Year goes to John DeGata for raising $13,000, his very first year involved with the Paul Drury Golf Challenge. And the Outstanding Community Event Award goes to Rick Daddario for putting on his annual piano concert in memory of CF hero Laura. And two honorable mentions. These people already got their award or they have one coming from them, but I thought I should mention it here on the stage. Recognized at the North American Cystic Fibrosis Conference, which we call NACFC for short, as one of the 2022 Outstanding Care Center partners. Congratulations to the Marie and Raymond Beauregard Adult CF Center at Hartford Hospital. And we know you got your award at the North American Conference, so congratulations. And another honorable mention who will be getting an award to them is Richard and Mary Antea. Dr. Richard and Mary Antea were chosen for the 2023 National Leadership Council in recognition of all their years of remarkable support, leadership, and leveraging so many of their connections to further our mission. Thank you to Rich and Mary. I know you're here somewhere. Well, back there. Next, the Lifetime Achievement Award. So without further ado, I'd like to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to Tim and Deb Lenahan. Tim and Deb have been involved for more than 26 years and have raised well over $1 million and counting. Both of their CF adults, Amy and Jason, have CF and are living very successful lives, and they're great, great people. They first got started with great strides and have never lost momentum as a top fundraising team, as you saw on the list earlier. And Tim also serves as vice president of the Connecticut chapter, and both he and Deb co-chair the Rose Ball. They've attended almost every event we've had. They've donated, volunteered, recruited literally every single person I think they've ever met on the planet, and that's no lie. So thank you for getting so many people involved. And as if that was not enough, they recently became members of the Legacy Society, which allows donors to leave an everlasting impact on the CF Foundation and community. So Tim and Deb, we can never thank you enough for your unwavering commitment to a cure. Please come up and get your award on stage. And as we end tonight, I just want to give another thanks to our guest speakers, Gia Kuhn, Mary Beth McMahon, Talia Oral, and Dr. Hussein Sadeghi, and also to Amy Lenahan for painting the picture that was on the award this evening. It was a beautiful watercolor picture and just absolutely stunning. So she's a very talented artist and CF fighter. Lauren Matteo for doing the photography for so many of our events. And tonight, Lauren, I see you back there, and thank you again for coming and donating your time. We really appreciate you volunteering again. And of course, the New Haven Lawn Club, as always, does a wonderful job, and we love it here. And Adele Petgrave, who provided the piano music and did an absolutely wonderful job. Thank you to every single person here and watching online virtually. And remember, you are making a huge impact. So we hope to see you at many of our events this year. And remember, we're all in it until it's done. Thank you and have a great night.